I just love you guys, and I appreciate you being here for us, and I appreciate you doing the things that we are doing, and I appreciate you building this. Please like this episode, as well as every other episode you do enjoy going on right now that I'm very excited about. And I see Doge, and I see the realignment of the educational system coming together for a real unique opportunity that we haven't had in a long time. And that's exciting more and more each day. It all comes back to coming back to yourself, taking your, you have three brains, right? You have the brain of the head, you have the brain of the heart, and you have the brain of the gut, gut instinct, right? I would love to really be able to get into some comfortable situations where we can start feeding back into the community that we haven't had in a long time. If we take the right approach, we have the ability to really dramatically affect not only the children grow, we can start turning revenues and rolling them into, for instance, here in the small town, seeing what kind of effects we have. We have coming up very shortly, as much as we should. And I think this is probably the strongest because it has emotion as well. And then those two signal to the brain to send out the chemicals that do the work that needs to be done according to whatever I have already talked a little bit about it with Emma on Emma Lynn and Grandpa Rodd. Hey, how you be, peeps? Oops, Fitz, I'm sorry. Go back to the green room. Your shirt will match and blend in. All right. Yeah, there you go. There was the first perfect entry into the show. I'm going to be doing this shortly, and when I actually bring Fitz on to the show, I've been very excited about this because our journeys are so well aligned, and her mission is basically the same missions that we have. I'll get to her in a second. Sorry, Fitz. I hope you're doing well back there. By the way, I forgot to tell you, I did not mention this. While you're in the green room, the only rule in there, you can have anything you want that's laid out just like any green room, but you can't touch the green colored chocolate covered peanuts. So if you would just leave those alone, I'll get in trouble if you do. At the end of the day, we're here. This is Insights and Straight Talk. I'm your host, Rodd Duff. We're getting close to 380 episodes. And yes, they're sprinkled with little errors and mistakes all around. And that's just because I'm an average Joe, man. And we're here about all of us. Our group here. We got somebody coming in already. Our group here are peeps, us as a community. We are about empowering and bringing together the great middle class. We're the backbone of the economy, of industry within our governmental system, and by extension, the world. But yet we're the most forgotten and ignored class there is. And we're not talking about today politics. We're not talking about finance. We're not talking about AI and crypto. As you all know, we have those in individual lanes. But what we are talking about kind of falls a little bit into not only the Emma Lynn and Grandpa Rodd show on Tuesday with her program that is spreading nationally about getting kids healthy, walking, running in the morning before schools, kind of thing. I'll give you the full introduction with her. I do want to give a shout out to the Mangum City Library, who's supporting our Regeneration School project. They set up a studio in here for us, and as you can see behind me, there's a little stage. I'm looking wrong way. Little stage. This chair over here represents the children that will, 13 teenagers that will be coming in, asking Emma Lynn questions along with you, our live audience. We've got 25 people coming in. Welcome aboard. We're on a run to get to 10,000 by November. We're about 1,000 short, and so we're in the 9,900 area range, and not bad for a year. We started this a year ago in September, And so the message is really, and you, the community, are really building this because of the amazing intelligence that you bring to this show. I always like to call myself the safety net. If I understand what our guests, our experts are talking about, then everybody out there in the audience certainly will. You'll see, Fitz, they're very, very intelligent. They come here for a reason. They come. We do a lot of marketing and social media, as you know, and so they watch that stuff. We've got about 20-some thousand subscribers across our social media platform. Like, for instance, right now we're streaming out to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. So we've got 49 people here in the audience. Please subscribe. I'm going to be saying that more often than I usually do, but I really want to get to this 10,000 number here on YouTube. And so let's talk about what we're doing. We're Insights and Straight Talk. We're an IMS company, multimedia company, and we're very excited about the way things are going. I'm honored today, with Fitz Koehler. And when she comes on, you'll see the sign behind her. It's Fitzness. Fitz. I got to get the Z in there, right, Fitz? Ness, and it's about empowering. I mean, she came from rebuilding her body and her mind while surviving cancer. And anybody who's been through anything like that will know how challenging it is onto your body, and then, of course, onto your mind. It's a devastating place to be. And I raise your hand to the audience. You got 72 people here now. I guarantee every one of you has had somebody that they know or personally experience going through cancer. And so this is a story and you all know we start with the journey of Fitz. That got her onto the journey she is on now. So there's an amazing and inspiring message that's coming in today's show, and I'm really excited about that. Almost 100 people on now. Please subscribe. She holds a master's in exercise and sports science from the University of Florida. What a horrible place to live, huh? Poor girl. Dynamic career as a keynote speaker. Personality, 5-time author. This is her 5th book we're talking about coming up on the show today. Mission not only excuses, kind of just to eliminate excuses and deliver results. And that's kind of that mindset. You know how we talk about building each person from the inside out. That's kind of that regeneration school project that we talk about, because it's not just about the teenagers. It's also, you can do all that, but you also got to have the parents have the tools, have the kits available to be able to become better. And with AI coming, you're probably going to need to learn new skills. So we're kind of covering that community, person by person, conversation by conversation. So the Morning Mile is that children's program that is really working from the health standpoint. But think about it, right? If your health is improving, your inner child, let's say, your inner being from the inside out is also improving. We all know how well fitness does that. Already transformed hundreds of schools across the U.S. into active, joyful communities where kids walk and run before class, build healthy habits and a sense of belonging. I mean, does that not sound exactly what we're talking about, right? Real momentum in their lives, and that's why we focus on the school systems so that we can start to add that 5th core. And I think this is part of that. In that health is an imperative. Program. This program that she's done scaled rapidly, spreading to dozens of states and beyond, and reaching tens of thousands of students. If you want to check that out. Oh, by the way, Fitz, I'm gonna, during the show, Oh, you already got something on there. I didn't notice that. In the private chat, I'll copy and paste over your contact information. But further down the lane, there's probably going to be, what do we got? We got 129 people already. There's probably going to be a number of questions, so I don't want it to get lost in there, but I will copy that over. Fitness.com, +3 runners, Real +3, bring back the mile. Your latest book, this is the one we're going to talk about today, is called Supercharged. It's the exact formula for fitness, weight loss, and longevity. Distills the science. And here we go. I mean, we've all been in an interesting life over the last number of years, and trust the science. Well, this is actual science-based, no nonsense approach to living stronger, longer, and louder. And I like that. And you'll see why that louder. We were chatting, and we've been communicating for I think a couple of weeks now, off and on. But very, very fun, very electric, very energetic show today. You guys are going to be not only informed, but I think I'm pretty confident saying you're going to be entertained today. We're taking our time today. Neither of us have a really hard stop. I've got a meeting and she's got a meeting, but I think we've gone 2.5 hours. Maybe we'll hit that, but maybe not. So, it's a blueprint for change that spans mindset, movement, nutrition, and resilience. And there's a number of things that I can go through, which I hope we've got all that in the information. But beating cancer and coming back with renewed energy and purpose, launching the health cancer comeback series. We'll be getting into all this. You guys know this show. Very rarely do I get into such a, I don't want to say in depth, but usually it's a much more shallow introduction. We got 174 people coming on. Keep coming on. Please subscribe if you like the show, and I think you're going to definitely love this show. So without further ado, let's. Oh, by the way, I didn't bring that on. I messed myself up when I left you in the green on stage, Fitz, and I.
Hey, take that photo down. That guy's a psycho. Hi.
So Fitz, my newest bestest friend my newest bestie, let's say.
That's right.
200 people on right now. I gave I think a pretty darn good introduction. No, I gave a little spot about you here. This is what you're all about. But take it from here. Where did your journey begin, and what were the things along the way that kept your? It looks like we already got some questions.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, from Todd Martin.
Yeah. So
we'll get to Todd first. Hold on. I want to go back to your journey. Let's hear all that, and let some people kind of, I want to know about this, and I want to know about that. Go for it, Fitz.
Right. Well, so thank you for having me on your show, Rodd, and hello to all of Rodd's listeners. So nice to meet you. And I'm happy to share my story, but honestly, everything I do is about you. So hopefully, if you're out there listening, you're going to walk away today with some golden nuggets that help you do better, be better, look, feel, perform better, live longer, all of that stuff. Anything that comes out of my mouth is truly for you. So I'm really excited to be on your show. My history, gosh, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, scrappy kid. I started teaching fitness at 14, and I kind of
wow. Wait, whoa. You started teaching fitness at 14?
Correct. So I was a soccer player. I had my knee blown out. I had an MCL repair. I had to go to physical therapy, and was kind of interested in that profession, but honestly, I'm too squeamish to touch people and their incisions and things like that. So when I graduated from PT, that therapist told my mom, get her to a gym, have her continue strength training, or she will re-injure this knee. And so thank goodness my mom's a big liar. She lied and enrolled me at the local gym called Spa Lady. And it was a fitness center for women. And so I went in there and started using machines, really loved it. I started taking classes. I thought the instructors were cool. At the same time, I was working at Cinnabon in the mall. I mean, remember, I was 14 at the time. And gosh, I was eating all the frosting because it was delicious. But anywho,
It's
My
amazing stuff.
manager was cranky. I mean, her name was Ronnie. I did not like that woman. And so finally I quit Cinnabon and I applied at the gym and I said, "Hey, can I work here?" And so the manager interviewed me on a Monday and he said, "Can you teach a class?" And I said, "I think I can." He said, "Can you teach a class on Thursday?" And I said, "I'll give it a go. Why not? Thank God I'm a gamer." I just thought I'll do it. And so I did it and it went great. It was really fun. I loved connecting with people and he hired me on and I stuck around for a few years teaching fitness, doing personal training and group classes. And, one of the things that was really impactful to me is I built relationships with the other members of the gym and I started not only seeing their bodies change, and boy, did I see their bodies change, but I saw their confidence. They showed up happier. They had more energy. They were getting jobs. They were getting better jobs. They were ditching bad relationships and exchanging them for good relationships. And I really thought, oh, this fitness thing works, right? So I bought off on it, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, how fortunate that I fell, stumbled, dove into work at such a young age that would
Yeah.
inspire me for my entire life. But I left there. I went to the University of Florida, go Gators, and started teaching at their fitness center, which was great fun. Spent my first summer in college teaching on a cruise ship over in Europe. I did a little negotiating and I scored a job on a 5-star cruise liner. I taught in Russia. I taught in every country in Scandinavia. I taught in Estonia. I'd never even heard of Estonia before. And my family, we're Floridians. We vacationed at Disney and Busch Gardens and SeaWorld, and I had never left the country before. So that was incredible. That was a wonderful experience.
What age was that?
I think I was 20 when I got on that ship.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are, it's obvious why your success and your energy and your motivation is so instilled, because I mean, from that time early on, you've really been driven along this journey. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's great to see people like this.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's great to be this person because I am so genuinely happy and fulfilled and
Yeah.
compelled to do what I do. But I came back to UF after that summer on the ship, and there was a TV producer casting for a fitness TV show. And so I auditioned, and thankfully he chose me. And, a couple of things. Number one, my skills were transferable from real life situations to the camera. And then once the show started airing with regularity, and it did, it was a very popular show. I had so many strangers coming up and they would say, "Are you Fitz?" Say, "Yeah, I'm Fitz." And they say, "I love you. I love your show. I work out with you all the time." And then they started saying things like, "I've lost 17 pounds," or "My back pain had gone away." And I was blown back. Again, I'm 20, I'm 21. And the fact that I'm meeting these strangers and they're telling me that I did something that helped them live better. And I at that point knew that it wasn't just fitness, it was fitness via mass media, because at that I enjoy working one-on-one and I enjoyed teaching classes. It's been forever since I worked at a gym or taught a group class, but I need to connect with thousands, millions at a pop. So if I'm on national morning news, even if I'm not getting paid for it, if I'm on national morning news, I know that my words have penetrated the ears of at least a million
Absolutely.
people. That's a good day for me. That's very satisfying. So, yeah, I write articles, I do radio, I host the Fitness Show podcast. I have book number 5. I do keynotes. Any way that I can get my messages into people's minds and compel them to do better and be better is a passion of mine. I've been doing it forever and I just still love it so much. I believe in fitness and health more now than I did when I was 14.
You said to millions of people, you've got
Yeah.
another, it looks like out of those millions, there's 417 of them here
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, what are you talking about? What's this? What? Tell me more." Okay. So you're now, and we've got a ton of, usually they're not this quick
I love
and this fast,
questions.
but there's a ton. They're just all over
Good.
the place here.
Good.
The pod. Let's start with the podcast, because I heard that you did this, but so you do what is it, a weekly podcast? Is it on, where is it at? Where do I find something? It'd be interesting to hear to
Of
be
course.
this, me and you, they,
Yeah.
on your side, what I'd love to hear you. Where do I find you at?
So it's the Fitzness Show. And again, folks, my brand is Fitzness across the board. It's Fitz, Z as in
You see it
zebra,
up above her.
NESS.com. It's .com. I'm Fitzness on all social channels. And then it's the Fitzness Show. And with that, we talk about fitness and sports and doing better and being better. And sometimes I have celebrity guests, and a lot of times it's just me rambling on and drilling down information, hopefully in a really fun way. I have little segments called pokes. So they're short. They're usually 4 to 6 minutes where
Called
I
what?
address the top pokes, like poking you. I'm known for poking people in the chest. I'm
Gotcha.
merciless. Boom. And if you're out there, know that I am winding up to stab you right in the chest with my pointer finger. But
Oh,
yeah,
do
the
you
little
see that,
pokes
guys?
are,
Ow.
some of the pokes include topics like you are not old and work harder and eat more avocados. And I mean, there's just a whole list of them. So, I have full length episodes that are, 30 to 90 minutes, depending on the topic and the guest, if I have a guest. And then the pokes are made for you to wake up and just get that little kick in the can, right? You need a little encouragement. You can listen to these pokes every day of the week and they would inspire you
They're
to do better.
separate from
So,
the show. They're separate,
they're
so I
part
could
of the
like
show.
wake
So if
up
you go,
and okay.
yeah, if you go to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever, and then you just like they listen to your show, they listen to my show. But
Sure.
yeah, they're designated. You'll see poke, um, work harder,
That'd be a good
whatever. They'll
morning thing. That'd be a
yeah.
good morning thing to wake up and get poked, so to
Oh
speak.
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm poking everybody. So yeah, the fitness show, it's been going since 2016. I did kind of dial it back a little bit while I was going through cancer care, but I'm really happy to have brought it back. And I would
How
just
long was that?
crossed over.
How long was that process? If you don't
Uh,
mind me
s-
just
so
talking it through a minute.
I had 15 months of chemotherapy, and intertwined in that, I
Wow.
had 33 rounds of radiation and some surgery. So it was a really long, miserable process, but it did its job. And I'm so grateful to be alive and healthy and strong. Hi,
Mm,
Todd Martin.
bless you. Yes. Why don't you since we're here, why don't if you don't mind, let's hit some of these questions. I don't recognize Todd's name. Maybe he's coming out of your group there, but welcome, Todd. I appreciate you being here. We've got 445 people on. By the way, I got to say it again. Please subscribe. We're getting it.
Yeah,
Fitz, would you subscribe, please?
I will definitely subscribe.
We're on a push to 10,000. Let's make it happen. Okay. So Todd said, do you want to read the questions or you
Yeah,
want me to read it? What do you want?
I'll read it out loud. Todd Martin
Go for it.
says, Fitz, what was the first step you took after beating cancer to rebuild your strength? So, excellent
Great question,
question.
Todd.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I did not wait till I was done. And so the blessing for me is I was fit going into my crisis. And I encourage everybody to start taking your health seriously today, because you never know when tragedy or crisis will strike, whether you get hit by a bus or you get diagnosed with something. It's so much easier if you are going into that crisis physically capable, and then you're much more likely to get through it quickly and without interruption, right? So if you're going to be hit by a car or have a disease, would you rather be John Cena or Pee Wee Herman? I'd take John Cena, right? So I was strong,
100%.
my little lady version of John Cena. So that helps. And chemo really beat me up. Specifically, that was the worst part for me. I was
Yeah.
imagine having a tequila hangover or food poisoning every day for a year and a half. That was my
Wow.
burden. But I continued through the process doing what I could when I could. And that's a big message here, is control what you can when you can. And so if I was stuck in bed, I was doing
Oh,
leg
say
lifts
that
in
again.
bed.
Hold on. Hold. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold. Stay that line again. That line is beauty. Go ahead. Sorry. Go.
This is the premise of fitness. Yeah, you control what you can when you can. And so I
God, I love that. I'm
could
going to
not,
steal that from you.
yeah, borrow it,
Borrow
use it.
it.
Yeah,
Borrow
you
it.
can have
Borrow
it. I bequeath it to you. I want everyone. That's it. I'm constantly trying to take people, because so many people are making excuses. And I could have said, oh, I have cancer. I can't. Okay. No, I did what I could. And so some days I was able to go for a walk. And early in my treatment, before things really hit the fan, I was able to be a little more aggressive with my workouts. But then on stuck in bed days, I did leg lifts in bed. I did
There you
bridges
go.
in bed
There you
and
go.
crunches. And so I constantly fought the decline. And so my treatment was, I mean, every cancer patient has a difference. So we're not all the same, yet we have so much in common, right? So the
Yep.
first 6 months were particularly brutal for me as far as the chemo went. The next 9 months were a little less. And so once I came out of that first 6 months, it's that was the point where my mother, and people look at me now and they go, well, she couldn't have been that sick, right? I had lost so much weight and I was bald, yay. And I never wore a wig. So I just kind of just did my thing and I was who I was. But at some point, my mother started screaming at me, you need to eat. You look like you were in the Holocaust. And I mean, I was just like, thanks, mom. I know. I had really unraveled physically and I lost strength and endurance and I was just a shell of myself. But here's the deal. I knew how to build my body back. Lucky me that I'm a fitness expert, right? Lucky me that I'm this all-knowing fitness creature. So I was able to plot out this attack to get back to not only normal, but strong and vibrant. And so it was baby steps. And that's what everybody needs to know is you can't become someone else in a day. I could only do what I could do. And my goal was to become 1% better every single day. And that was a combination of stretching and cardio and
Stretch.
balance and strength training for sure. Man, I am a monster. I mean, I sound like I'm patting myself. I strength train aggressively. I was so frail. I used to have a thing, I called it chemo butt. Everyone's like, what is chemo butt? Chemo butt is when I turned around and my once previously plump and round rear end was flat and wiggly like a pancake. I looked from the back end like I was 100 years old. And so you have no idea how many lunges and squat jumps I have done between chemo today. But to answer your question, Todd, is the process never stopped, right? So I went from fighting the decline, even though it was somewhat of a losing battle. I certainly would have been worse had I not been making those
100%.
efforts. And then, it's been very gratifying to get back to great. About a year after finishing chemo, I ran the Boston Marathon, and I've just done a bunch of wonderful things, and I feel so great now. And I don't know if you've seen the cover of my book, Todd Martin, but folks, go look at the cover of my book called Supercharged.
Do you have it?
On the cover
Do
of
you have it handy?
I do. Can I share it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna share it. But yeah, I mean, you could judge for yourself if you think I look fit or not now.
And while you're telling that story, and just to emphasize, I was talking on a different show, and they were talking about heart disease, and you said you can't change yourself the next day. Start slow,
right.
And they're talking at something as simple as men are far more as we age. Okay, I'm at a different period of time than you. And just different reasons. But I want to live longer. I want a quality of life, not just a quantity of life. And you said something there that was key. This doctor, a surgeon, talks about, you got to at least walk 15 minutes a day. Anything less than that, because you're sitting all day and your heart is getting all this. When you start exercising, all of a sudden the endorphins, you start flushing out the bad stuff and allowing the good stuff to take its place, to backfill in behind it. I don't know all the medical terms but those are things you were touching on a second ago. And then you get into harder and more aggressive exercise, and then all of a sudden the body starts looking at it and feeling it. And I personally, I'm 63. And so it doesn't stop. I mean, it needs to keep going, because the older you get, the more you need, especially if you haven't before, right, Fitz?
Well, ding, 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 you nailed it. And it's well, first of all, here's the book cover. What do we think, guys?
Oh,
do I look?
Yeah. I should have chose that. I did a scrape on your thing, and I chose the wrong picture, and I saw you. So I won't ever touch that again. But I brought that on, and I was thinking, oh man, am I going to look like I'm a creepy old guy that really likes this beautiful creature in front of me? So I went with the more conservative one.
Well,
but yeah. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Stand on my side here. Go ahead, Fitz.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I look like the girl who my mother accused of looking like I was in the Holocaust anymore. I've worked very hard for that. Again, this is not about me. I feel great, and I'm very pleased with the book cover. But I want everybody to know that that supercharged version of you exists. You can make everything about you way better than it is today. Your strength, your flexibility, your balance, your endurance, your energy, your sleep could be better. And if you put all those things together and you really work on your physical health, well, you're clearly going to be nicer because you'll have less pain, you'll be less sleepy, less irritable. So you're going to be kinder, you're going to have better social circles
You're
when
going to
you
feel
walk
better.
into, yeah, when you walk in for a job interview, someone's going to say, yeah, I want that guy. I want that ray of sunshine in my office, that powerhouse. I want him or her taking care of my deals, right? Or if you are the business owner, you're going to be able to bring in business because you have the stamina. I mean, the physical and the mental health go hand in hand. And if you put those things together, you can be unstoppable. Your entire world, from your social
Well,
situation
confidence
to your
too.
professional, of it. Of course. Of
Yeah, when you're
course.
working out, I mean, I know when I work out and when I haven't, I had a motorcycle accident. I broke every bone on the left side of my
Yikes.
body 3 years ago, Memorial
Wow.
Day, and I got up to almost 300 pounds, 290 some pounds, and it was something I lived with for a little bit, and I felt different than I do today. And prior to that, I was an
Of
athlete and all that,
course.
but
Yeah.
I had that middle time there, and the business wasn't as well. The confidence wasn't there. So everything you're saying, right? But man, that confidence, when you step into a room and people look at you differently, instead of not looking at you, they pause for a second. That's a
Yeah.
confidence. You bring an aura when you do that. So I'm just adding a touch.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And again, this is about you but better, right? Imagine if every single thing about you were somewhat better. Right? You can even enhance your brain, your intelligence, your creativity. Our brains are plastic. It's called neuroplasticity, where if you exercise, you can regenerate brain cells that might have been lost through, I don't know, contact sports or alcohol or whatever. Todd Campbell, you got a great question. How did I keep my motivation strong on tough days? So I value
Yeah,
health
great question, Todd.
above all else. The only thing that competes with health for me is my country, right? So country first, but that motivation, the
Hey,
priority on health is there. And so I don't know, motivation is one thing. I lean on discipline. In fact, one of my chapters in the book is called Motivation versus Discipline. Here's the deal. Motivation will get
okay.
you started. Discipline will get you to the finish line, right? You could be excited about your reunion or
Oh,
new love or whatever
oh.
that gets you started. But discipline is the thing that gets you to show up every day, do the work, say no thank you to the toxic food and content, and yes to the healthy food. That's discipline. And so motivation is nice, discipline is paramount. Great question.
That's that's a great way to put it. Let's go on to Kenneth here. Go
Hi.
ahead.
I love his smile, by the way. Hi, Kenneth.
He does
What
have a
advice?
good smile.
It's good, right? He looks
He's got
dapper.
that
I like.
confident look, doesn't he? I mean, all looking fine
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
strong.
I love the bald head on a man too. So he
Yes,
says, what advice would I give someone starting fitness after illness? So definitely start, number one.
you kind of
Go,
went with that. Can
yeah,
I just to reemphasize and then go on with his
yeah,
question? But to reemphasize, one thing you said was interesting to me. And after my surgery, I had to do this. I had to do because I've got looks like a shark bite from my armpit to my hip to the middle
ouch,
of my back. It looks like a shark bit me. So
yeah,
they laid me open, right? Everything's in there all cut up. My bones are like in 17 pieces. I've got nothing but steel basically down here. I had to learn how to get dressed, how to, so I was fortunate enough. You said the good days and the bad days, the earlier question. And on the bad days when you had to stay in bed, you did planks, you did crunches, you did, and I remember having to on a smaller scale, I had to do those same sort of things. So you've already kind of build on that because I really I didn't get a chance to comment on that before. That's impressive. in bed doing the things
Yeah.
that you needed to do.
Yeah, and I always focus on I want to be able to take people to their most elite form of fitness, but also
Right.
there's this lowest form where we all will be at some point. I mean, nobody gets out unscathed, right? And so
Correct.
chapter 9 of my book is called Everything Exercise. There's over 300 photos with instructions on how to exercise, and there's a ton on the floor, traditional bench press and stuff like that. But
Sure.
there's 100 photos on how to exercise in bed. And so that's where you start. And then when you can get out of
100.
bed, there's 100 photos on, I mean, ish. I'm giving you a whatever,
Oh,
ish.
yeah.
Right? There's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
dozens of photos on how to
So a
exercise
lot.
in a chair. Yeah, in a chair. And then here's how you stretch in the shower. I found the shower, because I was a sick person. I was always in the shower trying to just like, I don't know, get clean and recover, right? But I would
Sure.
stretch in there. I would put on what I would do is I would put on Jerry Seinfeld YouTube interviews so I could listen to Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, he's
And then I would
funny.
just, oh, he's the best, anything to lighten my spirits, right? And then I would stretch in there. And so there's a section in chapter 9 for how to stretch in the shower. And so that's the answer to the question is baby steps, do what you can when you can and make small progressions. And know this, when it comes to fitness, people expect overnight results. If you decided to learn how to speak Russian or Portuguese or Italian, you wouldn't learn it in a day. You wouldn't learn it in a week. You would gradually increase your knowledge and your familiarity with the language. And eventually you would get there. That's the same thing as fitness. So don't have those overwhelming expectations on yourself immediately. And also don't compare yourself to whoever you were in high school or whoever you were 10 years ago. None of that matters. What matters is where
Or
you
the
are
other
right now
person at the
and what
gym
you can do
or
tomorrow.
whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, let me add to that as I'm thinking here, and I'm thinking as an old person because that's the life I'm in.
Hey man,
Um,
you are not old. That's another thing. I'm going to poke you. You are not old. You do not qualify. Get in your late 80s and we'll talk old. But right now, you're a pretty young guy. So
it's
own that.
true. We
Yeah.
are healthier, and we have medicine to bring us along. But
Tom Cruise is
unfortunately,
60 something.
yeah, Tom Cruise looks good.
Come on.
Yeah, no, I was actually in a risky business. I was in the background, but I was actually, I've been a big fan of his for a while. He's a little wacky sometimes, but man, as
Yeah.
an actor, oh my God, that
He's
dude
great. And
rocks.
he's
He
fit.
rocks.
He takes
And he's,
care of himself.
well, and like you're saying, he's cut out of that same cloth in that he's professional and he's on it and he's obviously nice and kind and all that.
Yeah.
But he's, man, when he's on set and he's doing his thing, he's doing his thing. He's living that life and he's dedicated to it. It's his journey and he's very, very good at it. But what I was going to say, and the reason I said I'm old, is only because I've found something out. You ever see older people in their arms, their skin gets, a little bit further along and wrinkly and all that. I've noticed that working out and building that muscle back, because what happens is your muscles atrophy and your skin is still there. And there may be fat and all that in there too. But as your muscles just doing a little bit of work kind of tightens up the skin and gives for a more, because people,
you're plumping it up. You're adding volume to the empty bag. It's like, you're just filling up the Ziploc. You're adding volume to that bag. That's why the skin is no longer wrinkly. And if you're going to fill it up with muscles. And ladies, I'm talking to you, fill it up with muscles too. I lift a god awful amount of weight and I am not a big jacked up person, but my skin's not hanging. That's for sure.
You bring up a good point, because when you were saying earlier that you go after heavy lifting and all that, one other thing that women are concerned about, different goals. Okay. You want to be strong and you want to be fit and you want to be everything that fitness. Am I getting enough Z in that? Fitness?
Yeah, you got some good one in that. Yeah, that was good.
Okay,
Fitness.
good.
Yeah.
They're very. You want to do that, but I've heard this multiple times. I'm not a fitness expert, but I'm a very curious person, and I talk to people. They're afraid of getting like this bodybuilder look.
Right. Right.
The average woman, not the one that wants to be a bodybuilder, but the average woman. How do you say to that? You don't have that look. You got a great look.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, bulking up for most women is nearly impossible. We don't have the testosterone in order to
There you
create
go.
that mass. And if we really want it, now here it could be possible, but we have to throw down hardcore. We have to just become weightlifting monsters and supplement and eat. We have to feed the beast. We have to overfeed the beast. So unless you're intentionally trying to pack on muscle weight, ladies, that's not a thing. And here's the also a thing. People say, well, I just want to tone. Well, toning's not a thing. Toning doesn't exist. Toning is, I don't know, it's a fake, stupid word, but either you are
Interesting.
working to get stronger or you're not. And so any effort you make in strength should challenge your body. If you are just doing what you could already do, then you are not getting stronger. You are staying the same. And eventually, because of age, if you keep doing the same and you age, you will regress. So if you want to improve, when you strength train, and I'm not telling you you have to use dumbbells, you could use bands, you could use gravity, you could use kettlebells and balls and cables, whatever floats your boat, Pilates. But you should be training at a
Push-ups.
pace where you get, that's gravity. When you get to repetition number 8 or 10, you
Oh, I
should
got
grunt, right? So when you get there, it's that tells me you're working hard. If you can swing around the dumbbell 15, 30 times, man, you're not getting stronger. You're just doing what you could already do. And so high reps for
you.
no reason
Okay.
also doesn't make a lot of sense. So whoever you
Hmm.
are, male, female, if you want to get stronger, not necessarily bigger, but stronger, you should be challenging your body. Here's the other gauges. If you're doing cardio, you want to make your lungs and heart stronger, you should be huffing and puffing. If you are stretching to increase flexibility, you should get to the point where you wince. You just say that little winky thing that tells me you're reaching far enough for progress. And then when it comes to balance training, anything you do on one foot or on squishy surfaces should make you wobble. So it's huff, puff, grunt, wince, wobble. Those are the bars you should be reaching for when you exercise. And if you accomplish those things, you're going to make progress.
I'm fascinated. You've said a couple of different times balance training. And
Yeah.
I notice as I get older and as other people obviously get older, and that's what really has been my motivation. And what did you say? What was there's motivation and I'm sorry, I'm going blank.
Discipline.
Discipline. And to
Yeah.
stay disciplined at doing that is because as we get older, there's steps in the world that you walk down. There's walking in and out of a bathtub. There's slippery
Hmm.
surfaces,
There's
and,
ice. Hmm.
and there's ice. And when you get older, and especially if you're not working out, your bones are going to be more brittle. Your muscle isn't there to
That's right.
to take impact, but your balance really can especially become very poor. So can you spend a second, and then I want to get into the
Love
question
to.
of mindset, but
Yeah.
stay there on the balance. What does that look like in
Yeah.
a
So
balance program? Very
so don't
interested in that.
don't you answer this, but folks out there listening, why would we balance train? Think about, why do we balance train? And the answer is so we don't fall down. That's exactly why. There's a thing called proprioception. Now that's a big word. I don't like to use too many big words in fitness, but it's called proprioception, which is our body's natural ability to respond to imbalances. And so if you're walking on the
Okay.
sidewalk and one foot accidentally goes halfway onto the grass and you feel the ankle start to turn, well, if your proprioception is good, your ankle will return to stability and you will press forward and you will not fall down. If your proprioception is weak, when you step on the grass, your ankle will roll and you will face plant. And so proprioception is something that can be earned, it can be improved, and I
Huh.
encourage you to do so. You can improve your balance simply by doing something as mundane as standing on one foot while you brush your teeth,
Yeah,
standing
I
on
do
one
that.
foot while you check out at the grocery store. So anything you do on one foot is it's going to enhance your balance.
And the
Now
other,
you can,
and then the
yeah,
other, right back. You
that's
got to
right.
balance it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You got 2 feet, stand on both of them interchangeably. And then you can make that even more challenging. Once you're good at that, you could stand on one foot with your eyes closed. That'll
Hmm.
completely change the situation. You could stand on one foot and play catch. You could flap your arms like a bird. I mean, that is the most simple form of exercise you can do anywhere at any time with zero equipment. And
And
it
then,
it
and
can
then that,
It could
Go
enhance
ahead.
your
Go
life
ahead.
by a good 10 years. We've all seen older folks we love. They have a simple fall, break their hip, 3 days later, they're dead. So if you would not like to
Yes.
die because of a simple fall, balance train.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then to add to that 1 foot thing, by the way, exactly a year after I had my motorcycle accident, I had a stroke.
Oh, that's
So
fun. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
it was a fun.
So
It's been a
good.
fun number of years. It's
Right.
been
Well, look at you. You're
interesting.
still
So
doing great.
it really woke my life up to, okay, let's really come on, dude, because I was kind of getting there, and then when I had the stroke, it was a different story because
Yeah.
I fully recovered. It was kind of bizarre because I've known other people who have had them and they're paralyzed on one side or the
Yeah, of
other.
course.
But while I was doing that, you talked about it, and I did that. I started like at the pool. I started doing laps and all that. And that's another exercise that's really
Hmm.
good. But I'd hold the fence and just pick up my 1 foot, and then I'd pick up my other, and then I'd walk where I'd kick one up and kick just to kind of
Yeah.
get that strength, and got to a point where I could stand on 1 foot, count to 100, and while doing like kind of leg lifts, or what would you call it, where you bring your knee to your chest or something like that. So now
Knee
you're
lifts.
balancing all of that. My God, I really became much more. I was I used to wrestle all the way through college into the Olympic trials. I didn't, but
Cool.
but even at that time, I'd roll my ankle every once in a while. By
Yeah.
what you said, I'd step on something and I'd roll my ankle. I've had that happen now, and it reflects back. I mean, I was more athletic back then, but that, what did you call it? What was that big word?
Proprioception.
I've got better that than I did then, which is,
Proprioception. Yeah. Hey,
but
hey, listen.
isn't that kind of bizarre? Is that just from that stuff?
It's because you practice, you prioritized it, and it's no shock that if you practice playing guitar, you're going to be much better at it, right? And so
Yeah,
fitness is something we can all improve at. Again, no matter where we are, whether you're at the most fit person on earth or the least fit, we can all get better, and that's pretty exciting. Okay, Joe Depard,
Joe,
he said,
I love
how
this
do you balance
mindset.
mindset and physical training and recovery? So I think they go hand in hand. If you look at just Google stress management, dealing with
Mm,
anxiety, any of
okay,
those things,
okay,
exercise is at the top of that list of solutions for mental issues, right? If you are having stress, if you are having anxiety, if you're
we have
down in the
500
dumps,
people on, by the
depression,
way.
good.
We have
Hi.
500 people on.
500 new besties for me that I get to poke, which I'm
Exactly,
excited about. But
exactly.
yeah, so exercise is a solution for mental health. If you are taking care of your mental health, you are more likely to exercise. If you are leaning into it, here's the deal. I'm so fortunate to be a bright sider. I was born this way. The smile is genuine. It just like flies out of me uncontrollably. I am freaking happy. Sometimes I get the sads. I don't know where they come from,
Sure, sure.
but this is what I do. I respond immediately because I am so averse to being sad. I take action on my own behalf. And so I want everybody to know that you can also take action on your own behalf. Have a list of things you love. For me, it's exercise, it's fresh air, it is dogs, it is music. There's a list of things that I freaking love. And so when those sads appear, I don't know why they are there. I mean, maybe sometimes I have reason to be sad, but I instantly go, I got to get outside. I got to get with my dogs. I got to exercise. I'm going to turn on happy music, not sad music. And so, folks, if you want to feel happy, you can train to feel happy. Of course, there are some innate issues people deal with, and I'm not disrespecting clinical depression or anything like that. Gosh, I really, my heart bleeds for someone who's dealing with that. And I hope you get mental health professional if that's your deal. But if you're dealing with simple, down in the dumps, low motivation, blah, 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 well, then force the issue. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something to make myself delighted. You know what makes me freaking delighted? Garth Brooks. I know he's the solution for me. I put boom, call him Baton Rouge. And now I'm freaking happy. I know what works for me. And so you have to work hard for your body. You have to work hard for your mind. And I'm very proud that you Supercharged is jam packed with 34 chapters talking about physical and mental health, motivation and discipline, and everything in between. It's such a good question, Joe. Thank you.
Well, the endorphins is something that
Yeah.
that in mindset, and that can come out from listening to Garth Brooks, or
Yep.
it can, and especially comes out when you start working out. Producer Barbie from this show, who you'll see at the end in the outro video,
Hey,
she
Barbie.
works out every day, and she does it, of course, to keep her body
Right.
healthy and strong, but she really does it for mental health. She
Mhm.
says if she
Yep.
doesn't get that sweat out and all that, anxiety comes up, this and that. So literally she, gets professional help whenever we need it. But
Right.
but that day in and day out, hour, sometimes 2 hours, and then a sauna really makes a difference in her world. That's what we were kind of talking about here, right, Joe? With Joe?
Yeah. And you know what? You can do it throughout your day. Make sure you wake up to something that
Correct.
makes you feel joyful. You can inject it a phone call with your bestie while you walk during your lunch break, or just keep forcing joy into your day. And you should prioritize your own health. Nobody's going to do it for you. And so, yeah, make it a number one on your list of things to do, and it shouldn't take extra time. Okay.
No, it should,
Jeffrey.
and it should be. It's kind of your routine. You need to
Yeah.
make it kind. It's best. I shouldn't say need. It's best when you blend it into a routine, like you said, starting off wherever you are into wherever that goal is. Right, that routine
Yeah.
helps that, doesn't it?
I completely agree. And then, if you're like me and it's the SADs are rare, fortunately, then I know that I have to send myself a lifeline. I send that life preserver, and that life preserver comes in. I have a list. Maybe folks put in your phone like lists of things that make me happy. And so when you feel
Ah,
down or sad, you can just look at your list and say, okay, I'm going to pick that. I'm going to pick that and do that. And, solutions. Okay, Jeffrey. Also, you have such handsome listeners. I don't
there are
know.
there's a lot of business guys on today. I
I
noticed that.
see that.
I'm seeing that. Sometimes there's like a lot of other, you could tell, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of aging guys that
love
need
it.
to stay
Grown-ups.
competitive, or
Grown-ups.
grown-ups that need to stay
Mhm.
competitive in the business world
Yeah,
as the younger generation comes on. You need to keep that going.
gotta do it. Okay, so he says, what's the
Yeah,
biggest misconception people have about fitness and cancer?
it's a
Oh,
great
well,
question, Joe.
that's a really good one. I think that it's when you are diagnosed, all of your health and fitness and life has to stop. So, it's
Right,
funny, when I was
should be the
diagnosed,
opposite,
I
right?
agree. Yeah, yeah. So when I was diagnosed, people would say things like, "You can't, you can't go. You can't get on all those planes. You can't work with all those people. You have to stay home." Oh my gosh! I'll get to my next subject after this. But when I was fighting for my life, I was fighting for my life. I wasn't going to give up my life in the process of fighting for my life. What if
Ooh,
I had died? What if it killed me and I was just going to
ooh,
sit at home and rot away and make my last year on earth the worst? And so I
uh,
say the biggest misconception is that you throw in the towel when you're diagnosed. I say BS on that. You do the things that make you better, the things that make you happy, the things that fulfill you, that make you thrive. And so my exercise was high priority. I was not saying I got cancer, I'm just going to give up. I'm going to let all the weakness and the tightness overtake me. Forget that. So fitness counts more than ever, health counts more than ever, mental health counts more than ever, because I say nothing, I don't know all the things, but I can tell you I've never experienced anything so stressful. The burden of stress that came along with cancer was just overwhelming. And so your physical and your mental health efforts you should be doubling down on. And then when it comes to work, I had to pay bills. That's one of the reasons we work. But I boarded over 30 planes out of Gainesville, Florida during my 15 months of treatment to go announce races. I'm a professional race announcer.
30.
And
Wait, before you go on, and I saw that in
30.
your thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
30.
Yeah. 15 months. Those were my trips. And it would have been more if
Sure.
COVID hadn't shut the world down. But people are like, wear a mask. And I thought, I'm not a weirdo. I'm not wearing a mask. If you lost your mind, I had no idea a year later all sorts of weirdos would be wearing masks. But, my
Oh my
attitude was,
God.
I'm afraid of
There's still,
cancer.
some people are still
I
wearing
know.
masks.
Alone in their cars. I know. So
Exactly. Or riding a bike.
what in the world? But yeah,
That
so
just
I
cracks me
got
up.
out there and I not only did the job that I love to do, but I hugged every single
What was,
Germy
I'm
sweaty
sorry, cut you
stranger.
off. What was that job? Announcing what?
I'm a professional race announcer and a keynote speaker. So, as a race announcer, I host some of the largest, most iconic running events in America. At that point, my first race post cancer diagnosis was the Los Angeles Marathon. We had, I think, 35,000 athletes that weekend. And so my role is
Wow.
I'm at the start line. They line up. I get everybody engaged, informed, entertained. I play rock and music. I whip them into a frenzy. When they're losing their mind, I yell go, and then they take off to run their distance. And then when they come to the finish line, I'm there saying, attaboy, attagirl, you did it. I can address most everybody by name. And my goal is to make the champion feel like they've won the biggest title on earth. And then the last person, the dead last finisher, feel like a champion too. So
That's
it's
good.
a big day where I put out a bunch of big energy and they're long hours. But I can tell you this, traveling with the intense sickness that I experienced was not a lot of fun. I was violently ill every day for a long time. And I would get to, let's say, California for a race, and I would inevitably sleep on the hotel bathroom floor because that's exactly where you sleep when you're sick, right? Everybody's been there. But my alarm would go
Sure.
off in the morning and I'd get up and I drag myself over to the stage. And what I can tell you is that no matter how terrible things were with me at the time, and things got pretty terrible, the second I stepped foot on my stages, every single thing that was wrong with me disappeared. I wasn't sick. I wasn't suffering. I wasn't tired. I was, jacked up on human generated go-go juice. And I got to be full force Fitz Koehler again. And so I think that's a myth with cancer. So they'd say, don't exercise, don't do this, don't do that. Don't work. Baloney. Work is good
Good
for you,
point.
especially if you love what you do. Travel is good for you. Friends are good for you. I have a friend who's been diagnosed with something lethal, and that person, I truly believe, needs to go do all the fun things now. You don't want to hide at home. Oh my God, I'm sick. I might die from this lethal thing. No, you're going to die from the lethal thing. And at least now you know it. The rest of us are thinking, oh, we're just going to live forever. This person possibly has a stamp on their foot. So go out and do the things, ride the horses, climb the mountains, have a hot tub in Finland or whatever it is. Life should possibly get bigger, even if you feel like garbage. That's the
You-
thing that I think is a misconception for cancer.
Before we go on, and we've got 4 or 5, hey, you're an awesome person
Yeah.
comments and a few more questions as well. But before we do that, you made a comment earlier that the conversation's been so good, I haven't been able to figure out where to
Sorry.
come back to it for a quick second. You said, fortunately, I'm a happier person. Your terminology,
Bright
I'm
cider.
a bright sider.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people, as you know, I mean, probably most people, as you know, just naturally aren't, or or for whatever reason in there's this space of their time aren't.
Yeah.
So you use it when you need it, whether it's listening to Garth Brooks or going for a run or working out. We talked about those different things that create your body to create joy within your mind.
Right.
The opening, your brain sends chemicals out according to what your guts, your heart, your stomach, and your brain need, and that's the kind of the pump. But what the reason I'm saying that is, let's say there's kind of a thing going on right now where they talk about wives and women, and having a different, not necessarily that kind of approach, and just 70% of humans, children and adults, have lived with some sort of mental illness, whether that's just depression,
Okay.
which is a bad thing, but all the way up, right, to serious mental health. This is something that's important to also combat that, besides the professional or the
Right.
bestie or the person that you can go to be able to talk things out. Exercise also, and I just wanted to float on that for a second, just to fill that
Yeah.
that portion of this discussion out, just to reinforce. What do you say to that, Fitz?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to controlling what we can when we can. And so
I
some people
wanted you to
can't.
say that again.
It's just it. You just have to have personal accountability. I have a wonderful family. I have wonderful friends. I rely on zero people for my own value or my own
There you go.
health. Or
There you go.
and we can't. I mean, it's wonderful if somebody comes in and says, "Oh, you look sad. Here, let me throw you a party." And it just doesn't happen that way. So I know that being sad makes me so sad. I mean, it's just such a silly thing to say. Some people, they have these maybe they're depressed or they're upset and they instantly grab alcohol. They pop a pill, they smoke a cigarette, they get in a fight. There's a whole bunch of toxic ways to deal with feeling bad, right? Taking it
Sure.
out. We could be a Karen. There's a whole bunch of horrible things we can do when we feel bad. We can make everybody around us miserable, or we can make ourselves worse. Or we can remember what that bossy lady Fitz Koehler said. And the next time you feel sad, you say, okay, she said to do what makes me happy. So I'm not telling you all
Yes.
that you should go cuddle puppies because I like to cuddle puppies, but find the productive things in your life that traditionally make you happy and go through the whole list if necessary until you are feeling great. Again, the toxic stuff also just if you're sad, don't play sad music, right? Don't bask in it for crying out loud. If you want to get out of it, you're gonna have to like throw yourself a rope and start, escaping the thing that's making you sad or those sad feelings. So yeah, control what you can when you can. I promise it will make all of your days lighter and brighter.
That's beautiful. So we'll get on to a couple of things here in a second. And by the way, I went and looked at the private chat and I saw what you wrote, and I thought it
Hmm.
was some contact information, but we'll honor that for sure.
Thank you.
Um, yeah. And I'm sorry for whatever that situation
It's
is.
okay.
And, and but please put in your contact information.
Yeah, yeah,
And so because you know how to, I mean, you know more than most people do. This show will end in whatever time. We're just over an hour
yeah.
going now. Still 500, just shy of
I
500
love it.
people on. So you're not only motivating, but obviously the people, there's a thirst for this kind of knowledge. But what I wanted to ask is, you said you haven't taught in groups in a long time.
Yeah.
Is there any of that fitness training in your world, like a platform that you have, or is it now your own work and then the education that goes out? Are you physically doing any personal training kind of stuff in a Zoom kind of environment? There's many of them out there, and I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, so I haven't done anything at a gym in forever and ever. Amen.
Right,
I
you
don't
said
do
that.
that typical fitness thing. Disney has hired me to come talk, to speak, and do a workout with their cast members, 5,000 of them on a stage in front of Spaceship Earth. And so that is
Wow.
something I do, but basically everything I do is on a mass scale. So, and I don't require 5,000 people to be at everything I do, but it's more a corporation says, you know what,
Sure.
we want to elevate the health of our organization, get our employees do more energetic, calling in sick less. We're going to bring her in. And so usually that's me on a stage yammering on a keynote style, but sometimes there's a breakout session where I will go get active with people. And then as far as the private training goes, I don't really do private training, but I do have clients who reach out that make me an offer I can't refuse for consults. And,
My son used to
you
do
know,
that. He used to fly to Arabia. I mean, that thing exists.
yeah,
I was shocked. I was surprised.
yeah,
Fly
yeah.
him out, and yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, yeah, and I really love helping people. I love helping people who are using my free resources at fitzness.com and those who would like to pay a high dollar ticket price for something special. Stavros,
It's
again, look how
Wait,
sharp.
wait, 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 wait,
I
wait. You beat me to that. Stavros. I'm wondering if he was on your ship back in the day when you were in Russia.
It
I'm
might have
guessing
been.
Stavros. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Another
Poconos, it does sound.
well distinguished guy. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk to Stavros.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to share my story if it makes somebody else's future story better. Thank you for that sweet comment. Davis Corson. Hi, Davis. Another nice post. He says, my no excuses approach is exactly what we all need. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And that's okay. So I keep talking about the book. I hope you don't mind. But at the end, there's a
No,
chapter
please. Yeah.
called,
That's what you're
it's
here for.
called Why Your Excuses Are Lame. And I go through all the most common excuses that I've heard throughout the years that make me roll my eyes. And so people will hear the information on eating right and exercise, and they'll go, but what about this? And so that's in the Why Your Excuses Are Lame chapter. So Davis, I hope everybody on earth reads that chapter, because basically, if we want something bad enough, we will figure out a way to make it happen. All right, Rob Gorski, how did writing you Supercharged change my own mindset? How did it change my own mindset? That's a great question. I think when I'm focused in on other people's well-being,
Really good
it
question.
al- it allows me to focus in on my own well-being. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm talking
Hmm.
about being a bright sider, if the doldrums hit me 2 days from now, I'm reminded I need to do the things. I don't have to feel this way. I can get up and go. And so yeah, I don't know if my mindset was changed, but it enhances it. And I've, I mean, I'm sure some people, although you say we have a big group, I'm sure some people have turned off because they say she's too much. Like, this woman is too energetic. She's like loud and noisy and bossy. And I get it. But uh, I am
That's your shtick.
supercharged by you. I love talking about health and exercise. And if some of you are out there and you're nodding your head thinking, yeah, this is going to make me better, then I'll walk away from this interview floating on cloud nine. So that book, I am so excited for so many people to read it. It's already on pre-order, and the orders are coming in, and I just am elated that I get to get between all those people's ears and impact them.
I'll go back to your contact information. I clicked it up, but I wanted to go
Yeah.
back here. I and the reason I did Rob's question is because this show started. Uh, Long story, won't get into it, but in some mental health times, people change their mindset or are affected or have a release in different ways. You talk about what's that, journaling and different things
Right.
like that. When I have issues, you go to Garth Brooks. I start right, when I need that release. I've written thousands of poems. I'm
Wow.
preparing a book, but I started this book. It's called what the what the fuck happened when I was in my 50s. And it basically goes through, and
I
it's
would
got a
read
little
that.
politics, got a little of this, got a little of that. But it when I started doing that, I was going for agents and they loved the writing, but I didn't have a platform. So that's why I started this. But writing, to Rob's point here, Mr. Gorski, to your point here, uh, I get that question, and yeah, it's fun for you to write, but you have a different release. But we all have also additional things, and I think that's just where it was coming from. Maybe there, I may be wrong. I just wanted to say that to advertise that I write.
Oh, well, I would buy What the F Happened in My 50s for sure.
All
Okay,
right, I will.
Richard, and
I will let you
I
know.
I love his beard. I'm a big fan of the beard. I used to not be a fan of the beard. Now I'm major into beards now. Okay, if someone's feeling
Okay.
defeated today, what's the one thing they should do next? Um,
Oh, good question,
I mean,
Richard.
golly, that's a
I love
great.
that.
That is a good one. I would say do something you think is hard, right? So
Mm,
maybe you think push-ups are hard, I mean, you get down on the ground, you do one, and you go, oh, that's a reminder. I can do hard things. And so
yeah.
sometimes it's that self-talk. So we go back to the cancer thing. And when I was getting diagnosed, one of the first things they did, they sent me in for an MRI. And so I don't advertise this much, but I'm claustrophobic.
Oh,
And
oh,
so
that
MRIs
sucks.
in I know MRIs in general not so good for someone who's claustrophobic, because they put you in a tube, and then they, like, Thor comes and bangs a hammer on the tube. It's very
Boom,
loud and
boom, boom.
disconcerting. So I went in mentally trying to be prepared for this, already scared about the cancer, but thinking, okay, I can do it. I can do it. And then I go in and it's not your standard MRI. They give you some up medieval garbage when you're getting a breast MRI. So instead of lying on my back, they made me lie on my tummy like Superman with my arms above my head. And then they clamped each of my boobs into place. They literally pinned me down, clink, clink, to the table. And oh my gosh,
That
it was
sucks.
so bad. It was so bad. And I had my hair, I had long hair back then. It's long again, thank God. But anyways, my hair was in my face and I was lying down and the lady didn't even say, you know, like crack your back or whatever you need to do. So I do what I'm told. I get down, she clinks me into this machine and I'm starting to panic. And then she shoves me into the machine. And at that point, I lost my freaking mind. I went absolutely berserk,
Wow.
kicking and screaming. And I'm type A. I don't lose it like that. I was screaming and begging. It felt like someone shoved me in a coffin with a tube sock shoved in my mouth and made me, and then like covered me with dirt. It was that bad. So she comes out now, instead of being nice, she's shouting at me. She's like, I stayed late for this and you can't start chemo without that, blah, 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 blah. And I said, please, please let me just put my hair back and let me crack my back and I'll be good. I'll be good. It was like, master, please, can I please have the thing again? So I adjust and then I take off the socks, you know, I undress as much as I can. And then I lie back down and she clink, clinks, puts me back in the tube. And at that point, uh, the mind started going wild and all I could hear myself say was, you can do this. And then I started rattling off my previous accomplishments. You know, she was saying, you used to be a full contact kickboxer and
Oh, wow.
what were my other things? You've built a business, you raised great kids, you can do hard things. You can do hard things. She just kept saying that. And it was before, like now it's a thing. People say you can do hard things. Nobody was saying that before. It was just a little psycho in the back of my mind talking to me, trying to get me through it. And eventually, she had said it enough after 45 minutes or whatever that I was done and I was released from my capture. It was awful, but that was a really important moment for me. It still, you know, gives me the willies, but I, at that point, took that little mantra and I took it with me everywhere I went because moving forward, I was constantly having to do things that terrified me. Every single time they put me with a needle, which was probably 700 times,
Oh, yeah.
I cried every time, but I had to volunteer to sit there for the needle. I had to volunteer for chemo. I knew what chemo was going to do, yet I had to keep walking. I had to get in the car and drive there and walk in and sit down and let some lady poke a needle through my chest. I mean, the whole thing was a
Yeah.
nightmare. So, you know, mindset matters. If you are convinced that you are capable, you are going to be able to do the thing in front of you. And when I was a kid, I got cut from a lot of teams. You know, sports were great. Sometimes I won, sometimes I lost, sometimes I got cut. You know, every time someone told me no, anytime a boy dumped me or whatever, all of those negative experiences were stealing me. STEEL. They were making me steal enough, strong enough
Oh,
to be able to do this most difficult thing, which for me was cancer. And so, yeah, if you're having a difficult day, challenge yourself with something you don't think you're capable of doing. And that could just be something as simple as a push up. And then you remind yourself, you know what? I can do hard things. And this sucks today, but I'm not even going to remember whatever this is 3 weeks or 3 years from now. So let's just get through it because I'm capable of it. And yeah, that's my advice for getting through hard things.
love that, Richard. Love that. Gerard here wants to give you a little pat on the back there.
Aw, thank you. And what a cool guy. Again, you got like all the cool guys on your show.
And he's got a
Next.
cool look, doesn't he? He's
He
got that
does have a-
motorcycle. Look like he just got off his bike.
I don't know.
Gerard, you're awesome. So I copied and pasted for you here.
Thank
I
you.
think we're dialed in here, right? Is there anything else that you're looking to discuss? Want to bring out more about your book, and some of the events that you do, any mindset stuff that you want to talk about, because you know it all ties together. As kind of a final thought, what do you want to leave 500 people with, as you exit off stage and go out to the beautiful world you live?
Lord, well, I don't want to leave you off, first of all, because I really am enjoying this. So you've had so many I don't think we've had one female comment, so I'd like to
I don't
address
think we, I
the
don't think we,
men in the room,
yeah,
because I love men and men are
that's a good
so
point.
great. Thanks, Meg. Thanks, guys, for being so awesome. But I
You're
have
right.
when writing the book, I had 34, there's 34 chapters, but when I thought I was pretty done with it back in this
Whoa, 34. Is this supercharged? 34 chapters?
supercharged 34 chapters, 400
You're
plus
breaking
pages,
them down to different segments according
different, yeah.
to, okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so there's a ton of chapter, not a ton. There's some significant chapters on the exact formula for weight loss, on nutrition, on
I saw
exercise,
that.
on the fit
Yeah.
principle, and so forth. But then there's aging like a badass and raising fit kids and healthy holiday hacks and training while traveling, like, dealing with this stuff. But then in the spring, a bunch of women said, could you please include a chapter for women on menopause and pregnancy and this? And I thought that's a great idea.
Oh,
And then I
that
thought,
is
you
a
know
good
what?
idea.
Women aren't the only creatures with their own special needs. So I hate to pick favorites, right? But one of my favorite chapters in the book is man mode. It's a chapter directly for men
Ooh,
because you guys also have hormonal changes. I call it
100%.
manopause, right? There's a lot of Fitzisms, there's a lot of weird little Fitzy words in there, but yeah, you have menopause. You have a decrease in testosterone. Guys are dealing with prostate issues. And women are
True.
women are queens of the kegels, right? Women like kegel, kegel, kegel for a whole bunch of reasons. I've never heard of
Mm-hmm.
guys talking about kegling. Now, I have a Hollywood actor, Colin Egglesfield. He's in the movies and in TVs. He was a model, and he had both testicular and prostate cancer.
Oh,
And so they
man.
removed the prostate, which is terrifying for many men because it could lead to permanent erectile dysfunction, and nobody likes that, right?
Correct.
So, but
Right.
he's kegling. He's kegling. He can get it back. It sounds like he has. He's trying not to be tacky and tell everybody all the things, but he gave me this great in-depth interview right as he was going through it. And so really prioritize stuff like that for the men. And so in that chapter, there's a claim that I can help you have the most powerful pecker in the world. And I stand by that. I stand by that because you can
I'm
exercise
interested.
and that's right. I just sold $500, but
You
guys,
did.
yeah, I mean, I feel like women are always getting all the attention and the white glove treatment,
True.
and women are so screechy. I mean, we're like, oh, hot flashes, menopause, menopause, and then guys, man, you just grit it and take it, but you can do better. You're 50% of the population. You are so wonderful in so many ways. And so I'm really proud that there's this awesome chapter in there called Man Mode. And
I like
when here's
that.
the other things. So we started off, I was telling everybody about pokes. I love to poke people. And that's the thing is I can compel you and I can give you the information, but I'm always encouraging people, take me with you, right? Let me be on your shoulder and go with you. And so if you sit down in a restaurant or you go through the drive-through, if I'm there, maybe I can help you make a good choice. If you're at the gym or you're sitting on the couch and you need some encouragement to get up and go, maybe I can be there. And so I love it when people order my books from fitzness.com. So I sell them on Amazon and so forth. But know this, Amazon takes 55% of the cover of all books. So that's
Oh,
not
I
much
didn't
left
know
for
that.
the author. It's terrible. So when people come to me, I offer incentives. I autograph every book personally, and then I put in free gifts, and I wrap it with love. It's very fun to receive a book straight from me. But these are the gifts this time, so it's ridiculous. But because I like to give people pokes, all the books are going to come with these little Fitzy stickers, so I can
Ah, that's not.
poke
Oh,
you. Right? So you could put it on your water bottle or on your laptop, or you could put it on your rear view mirror in the car. If you're prone to drive-throughs, maybe you go up with the rear view mirror and you can see the little Fitzy there going, don't do it, or order something great, right? So I'm really excited about these because, again, I love poking people, but not everybody lives in my
great
house
idea.
or on my street.
Great idea. I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Are
you.
we've got everything here. I'm going to leave this up. I was taking it down because I
Okay.
wasn't getting enough of my picture in the video.
Yeah,
So
that's okay.
yeah. So you know what you got. I mean, we're at an hour and 20 minutes. You still have 465
Uh,
people on, and I think you've made an impression. I think you've sold some books, and what was that chapter? That one man. What was
man,
that called?
man mode. like woo man stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Right,
I'm
baby.
I'm
All
really
right. Well,
excited.
why don't you wait for me in the green room if you don't mind? Throw you back
Okay.
in there. I don't think I could physically do it. You're a pretty physical person, but I'll throw you back in there. Why don't you give everybody a big wave, and we'll do some contact information stuff back there. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and folks, if you're gonna follow, great. I love the followers, but I'd much rather have friends. So if you do follow, say hi, say I heard you on the Insights and Straight Talk podcast, so we can actually connect and be friends.
I like
Thank
that.
you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, that was as beautiful as I expected it to be, and what I tell you, it was entertaining. It was fun. I don't I literally guffawed a few times, and normally I give a little chuckle or something, but there was some very cleverly and interesting Fitzisms. By the way, it's funny you said that right there at the end. You'll see producer Barbie in a minute in our newsletter. We have behind the mic, and then we have every Monday we have a part of the newsletter that's dedicated to Barbieisms. So I love that approach, and it's a great show, guys. I mean, I love you all being here. I appreciate you all being here. It's a wait at the end. I'm doing that little couple of second thing in there. I'm trying to play with that. You'll see what I mean right after the outro video, which is, I don't know, what is it, like a minute or a few seconds long. Thank you again to the Mangum Library for hosting this show and supporting the important messages that people like Fitz bring along, Fitz Koehler bring along, and it's about sharing information. It's about us coming together. Like I always say hi to somebody that if you don't know them, just wave at them and start that vibe, start that coming together. And I don't want to make that sound like a 60 hippies kind of thing, but it's important. We've been driven apart for so long. We've been put in our little boxes. And how does the government, what do you do? You divide and conquer. First you have men and women in boxes, and then different melatonin, different races, different religions, and on it goes. And we've got to fight against that. Like Fitz's story here is we've got to be active in our own lives. We have to be part of that life in how we approach the decisions we make, the attitude we have, the mental. 70% of people are dealing with some sort of mental health in the world. I think the free world. I don't know where those statistics would go beyond that. But at the end of the day, we have to be active in that, and there shouldn't be 70% of the human experience should not be 70% lived in mental illness. I'm talking about kids too, and there's something wrong with that. And there's something in our society that needs us to be involved in, and mental health. Fitness is such a priority in not just your body, not just living longer, not just not tripping when you're in your 70s now or 60s or whatever, because that quality of life needs to be there in order to have more quantity of life. They go hand in hand, but at the end of the day, the most important thing, it seems to me, it's not in a good spot. The most important to me seems to be is to have a quality of life, because it not only creates more quantity, but you live each day. Like Fitz said, you may die tomorrow, you may get hit by a bus, you may have a disease, you may, all of those things, but whatever the quantity you have in your life should be full of quality. This is Insights and Straight Talk. I'm Rodd Duff. I'm your host. And you know what? At this point, I got a crazy fun person in the green room. So I'm out.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out. Speaking of support,